I've spent the last 6 or 5 hours or so completely trying out almost everything that Update 3.5 has to offer for Anime Vanguards. And through my playtime, I began thinking to myself, both Anime Vanguards and Anime Adventures released a 0.5 update relatively at the same time. So then, the little light bulb went off in my head, and I started to think, how can I make a video out of this? And then it just clicked. Why don't we try to objectively find out which of these two games had the better 0.5 update? So that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. I'm going to be reading out what we got for update 19.5 in Anime Adventures and update 3.5 in Anime Vanguards, comparing the two updates, what we got, if there's cool stuff to do, what mechanics did we get, quality of life changes, etc, etc. You guys get the gist. So let's get right into it. We're going to start it off with Anime Adventures. And reading through their update logs, we got a new game mode / event called Assassin Contracts. Although, if I'm being 1,000,000% honest, calling it a new game mode is a bit of a stretch, as contracts are just portals. In fact, if you try to load up a contract to play with your friends, it'll literally just spawn a portal. So, I don't know how much of a quote-unquote new game mode this is, because to me it's just Sakamoto Days portals. I'm not mad at that. I love the anime, and the units are really fucking good. Sakamoto, probably top, I don't know, I'm not a leaderboard player, but I'd definitely put him in S tier if I had to make a tier list. He's doing well over 1,000,000 damage with no unique at max level, so that already puts him leaps and bounds above a lot of DPS units in Anime Adventures. I will say, I believe he's ground only though, so he's not really the end-all be-all for all the game modes since he can't hit air units, but I digress. What did we get in Anime Adventures? Well, we got 3 new units. I guess you could add a little bit more. We got 3 new Sakamoto Days units. We got Sakamoto himself, the emo girl with the black dress, Nagumo, I believe is what he's called, and the killer fast, I don't know, another dude. Four Sakamoto Days units in total. And we also got Phaeton. Phaeton? I believe that's what he's called. He's one of the Phantom Troop members. His whole shtick is that he has fire powers, and he was a new raid unit in Anime Adventures. And that is about all that we got, but for comparison's sake, and to be fair, I'll also make note that we did receive a good chunk of quality of life changes, such as the graphics being updated for most maps. Idle now negates high cost debuffs. Color coding for upgrade levels has improved. The main quality of life change that is really noticeable here is that you can see your unit stats by hovering over them. Beforehand, if you were in the little unit selection menu for Anime Adventures, you'd hover over a unit, you couldn't see if they had A, S, B stats. You had to physically click on the unit to check that out. Now all you have to do is hover over them. That's a really nice quality of life change, albeit it's not major. It's not thought I was gonna say the M word. Not gonna say it. It's not a huge change, but it's a welcome change nonetheless. Now, here's what I personally think about Update 19.5. For what it is, a smaller batch of content to keep players satiated until a big, full number update, it does its job pretty well, as it's pretty grindy, got some new units to do, got a new raid to do. It's what we've come to expect from Anime Adventures. But now when Anime Vanguards gets added into the formula, how exactly does it stack up? Well, now that we've gone over everything Anime Adventures added, let's go over what Anime Vanguards brung to the table. So, reading through their update log, just a quick skim, it looks like a lot more right off the get-go since there's this 4 pages long of a Google Doc. But that could also just be the font and the pictures and the things that they add to actually make the doc look good. So we can't really base our opinions purely off of looks. Let's get more into what exactly they added in Update 3.5. So we got 4 new units, 2 which come from Boss Rush, Sakura, and Saber Alter Saber. Now, something that I'll definitely note for Anime Vanguards is the obtainment method for one of the secret units is really unique. It's really different. It's not something that they've ever done before, and I can really appreciate that. I'm talking about Saber Alter specifically, because the way that you unlock her is by bringing Saber into the map, into the new boss rush, and you have to wait for a special enemy to spawn in on the map. Then you have to place her. She gets corrupted. Every single time that you place a corrupted version of her, there's a chance that the secret unit just automatically spawns and is given to you. I think that's really, really cool, and I've never seen that in another tower defense game before. So it always puts a smile on my face being able to see these types of games taking risks, albeit not huge ones. You know, this isn't something insanely risky. We're not reinventing the wheel here, but I definitely enjoy what they're trying to do, and it's not just like every other secret unit, which is grind for this unit, which is a 0.5% drop, evolve it, and you're good to go, which is the formula that a lot of these games opt to go with. But this one changes things, and it changes them in a genuinely fun and creative way. So I'll definitely commend them for that. We got a new Mythic Banner unit, Lilia, and a new World Lines unit, Is Dead. So I believe that's Esdeath. I think she's from Akage Mega Kill. I don't know. I don't watch that anime, but yeah, she's like blue ice girl who was supposed to be in the game like a long time ago. Her model was leaked like before release, and we're just now getting her, so I'm glad. So yeah, 4 new units. We also got a new boss event, and you know, I'll hold them to the same criticism as I'm holding Anime Adventures. They didn't add an entirely new game mode. Boss Rush has been a thing in this game mode before, and in Anime Vanguards before. But what they switch it up with is that they completely revamped the boss system. They added multiplayer, they added a new elite difficulty, they added a tournament to it. They also added cycle changes, in which for the tournaments, when you're doing the boss rush, it's going to cycle between the different bosses. And although, again, this isn't like a completely new game mode, these are nice little changes that still make that game mode feel fresh. You actually feel like you're playing something mildly different, which is nice. What else have they added? Let's keep scrolling through here. The World Lines reset. This isn't anything new, but it does give you the chance to grind for Esdeath. We also got a remake of the Sand Village. A lot of people don't pay too much attention to remakes of maps, but I definitely think it's worth mentioning just because it's nice to see that they're still actively trying to improve on their game. Like, you know, the Namek map got remade, this map got remade. So it's cool to see that if they see an area of their game lacking, they won't really hesitate to try to go in and tweak that. There's also a new starting player questline. We've acknowledged how overwhelming the early game may be for our new players. To help this, all new players will be greeted with a uniquely created questline which will guide them through various elements of the game and award them with a mythic Vegeta Super upon quest end to start their journey in Anime Vanguards. That is really, really nice. Albeit I kind of disagree with the reward though, because look, as much as I like the early game to be easier, trust me, I played this game on release. I played it in early access. Early game, when you first start, is a little grueling because you don't really have a mythic. So at some point, you kind of just get level locked. Well, not level locked, but you get stat capped because you can't really deal enough damage for the more end game story modes until you get a mythic. Although I might be wrong on that. If I remember correctly, people were beating all of story mode with legendaries only. What I'm trying to say is giving new players a guaranteed Vegeta, which is not only a mythic unit, one of the best mythic units in the game, especially in terms of like, you know, starting off a game cost effective. It's really cost effective, does really good damage, he's multi-hit. You guys are, I feel like it's just too easy for new players now. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Anime Vanguards needs to be this extremely hard unforgiving game, but the fact that we're giving away a whole mythic unit, a really, really good mythic unit to players just for doing a little quest. Now, I haven't played the quest. Maybe the quest is actually time consuming, and it does say that it takes them through all the elements in the game, so I can definitely commend that game design choice where you choose not only to teach new players about aspects of the gameplay which they're going to interact with later on, but they also give them a chance to earn a really good unit along the way. The reason that I personally disagree with it is because I feel like it just sort of makes the game too easy. And I know no one's really playing Anime Vanguards for its riveting difficulty, you know, this isn't Dark Souls, but like, really? A whole Vegeta at the start? I kind of just disagree with that. That's just a personal thing, though. Now, besides the new questline, what else do we have? Let's keep scrolling. We have 2 more things to go through. Changes in quality of life. They added a visual timer when a unit gets stunned. That is really nice. I noticed that immediately off the get-go when I started playing. I like that change a lot. Added amount sliders for purchasing or summoning units. Increased the game start time from 30 to 60 seconds. Here's one that I really enjoy. They added an in-game elemental reactions table. Beforehand, when they added the elemental reactions, sure, it was cool, but you wouldn't really know what each element did unless you checked the wiki, which is always lame, super lame to me. But now there is a visual table in-game that you can look at yourself without having to go on any external website. That is amazing. That is perfect. Let's see. There's some more quality of life, various changes, but I don't want this video to be like 20 minutes, so I'm not going to go over all of those, and some bug fixes. So, if you couldn't tell from the length of this video alone, I spent almost double the time purely talking about stuff that Anime Vanguards added in comparison to Anime Adventures. So now let's come back to our main question for the video. Which of these two games had a better 0.5 update? After playing both of them, after playing the 0.5 update for both of these games, albeit full transparency here, I didn't play the Anime Adventures 0.5 update as extensively as I did update 3.5 for Anime Vanguards. In fact, one look at my channel, you'll see that I made 2 videos on the Sakamoto Days update in comparison to like the 10 that I'm going to make for this one. So, yeah, I'll definitely be the first to admit I didn't as extensively play the Anime Adventures update. But can you blame me? Like, if we really get down to the nitty-gritty and look at the content itself, was there that much to do? There was a new Portals game mode, I guess, or if you really want to, you know, stretch it, we'll call it a new game mode, Contracts. But Contracts are just Portals, in my opinion. So, yeah, we got a new Portals game mode, or new game mode, Contracts. We got some new units to grind for, and we got a new raid. But then I start comparing it to Anime Vanguards, who not only added new units, but also added a new game mode. Well, I say new in air quotes. The same logic applies to them as I said to Anime Adventures. It's not a new game mode, but I can at least appreciate the fact that it was rehashed a little bit. Now, I want to be as fair and as objective as possible, so I will mention Contracts is not a complete one-to-one ripoff of Portals. They do add the mechanic where the boss loops around a couple times before he actually goes to your base, so you have more of a chance to kill him. So that's a nice addition, right? I'm not going to leave anything out. I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to be biased here. I'm just trying to be as non-partisan and look at these two as objectively as possible. Anime Adventures gave us Contracts, 5 new units, and some various quality of life changes. Anime Vanguards gave us 4 new units, a rehash game mode, a lot of more quality of life changes, and the units themselves had very unique passives. And that's something that I also have to give as a selling point for Anime Vanguards. Their units have a lot of effort put into them, and it's evident when you actually try them out in-game, because their passives, I don't know if it's like unique to them specifically, right? Like Excalibur, the version that Saber Alter has, technically we've seen it before, I guess. We've seen it in normal Saber because she also has Excalibur, but it's different with Saber Alternate because this isn't an ability, it's just a passive that she has at all times, which procs on her 5th attack. Or Sakura is the only unit in the game that's full AoE and does passive damage on the ground over time. What I'm trying to say is, units in Anime Vanguards feel more fundamentally different upon their arrival than a unit does in Anime Adventures. And I hope I'm articulating myself correctly. I don't know if it's hard to understand what I'm getting at, but that's the best way that I can describe it. It just feels more fresh to try out new Vanguards units than it does to try out new Anime Adventures units. But I digress. If we're going to end off the video, which of these two games would I say had the better 0.5 update? I'm going to have to give it to Anime Vanguards, and here's why. Number 1, the units are really unique. Number 2, the obtainment methods are once again something that we've never seen before. Saber Alter, her obtainment method, you've never seen that in Anime Vanguards before. I'm not going to say in any other tower defense game because they've probably done something similar to that, but I can really appreciate the thought process that went behind actually thinking of this process of getting the unit. Anime Adventures, there's no two unique obtainment methods as far as I know. It's just summon for a unit or get unit from raid. And something else that's worth noting, Anime Adventures took 5 weeks to drop their 0.5 update. Anime Vanguards took 2 weeks to drop theirs. So I also feel like that's somewhat important when we're trying to judge these two games as objectively as possible. Anime Vanguards came out with, in my opinion, a better update in a fraction of the time in comparison to Anime Adventures. But like I said, there's always a case to be made for both games. It really just comes down to personal preference. But if you ask me, right, if I have to look at the bigger picture, really put both of these games side by side, I really don't think there's an argument to be made for saying that Anime Adventures had a better 0.5 update than Anime Vanguards, at least in this very, very specific regard. If you put update 19.5 for AA right next to update 3.5 for Anime Vanguards, just in a vacuum, I truly and genuinely believe most people would agree with me that Anime Vanguards had them beat for this update for sure. But do I think this means that they're on their way to dethroning Anime Adventures? Never. I honestly don't think so. I think AA is one of those games that has reached a point where they're too big to fail. So really, no matter what they go with or what they do, they're always going to be extremely successful. And I'm sure that the owners know that, which is probably why they don't really try to push the envelope in terms of innovation for their game, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why would they bother? That's going to be it from me, though. I hope you guys enjoyed this little rant. Well, it's not a rant. This little analysis video of mine. And I have one more video to make before I call it a night. I am super duper tired, but we're going to push through and get this one last video out. If you made it till the end of this video, thank you for watching. Have a great day or night wherever you are. Stay tuned for more content, and we will catch you in the next one.